Hello, today I'm going to tie this little fly for you. I call it the Pointy spinner, and basically it's named after Glen Pointon, who's come up with the idea of using glow in the dark powder to see flies better in poor light. So already I've put in the vise a Daihuku size 14 dry fly hook, and I'm going to be using pearl silk to lash the materials on. So let's just cast the thread on. And I'll just remove the waste. I'm going to be using, not Heron Herald, Coq de Leon for the tail, and take 4 to 5 strands off the stalk. Lay it on. You want about 3/4 of the length of the hook shank for the length of your tail. Once you've got it on, have a look, just make sure you're happy with the length. Then come around behind and just catch the tail up. And what this does is just splays out the tail fibres at the end here. Remove your waste at the front. The next thing to go on then is the rib, and I'm going to use fine gold wire. It's 0.09, and I'm going to place that across the top of the shank. Like so. For the body, I'm going to use Heron Herald. Now I've used all the best feathers already, so I'm only left with my short feathers. You only need a couple of strands of feather. So I'm going to catch that at the points. Bring my thread all the way up to the front. Now you'll notice I've stopped a good 2 or 3 millimeters back. You've got to be generous with the amount of room you leave at the front of this fly. Because I'm dealing with the shorter Heron Herald feathers, I'm just going to use my hackle pliers to hold on to that. Now before I bring the feathers up, I'm just going to give a little light coat of super glue. Just get rid of the bulk of it. You only just want a little tad on. And it just gives the fly a little bit more longevity. The rib will offer it some protection, but you would be looking to get maybe 2 or 3 fish before you've got to change your flies. So we'll just bring that around. Then at the front you can lock that off. You can pull it back and go over it again, but it just adds bulk to the fly that I don't want to have, so I'll just take that away now. With the rib, I'm going to come round and go in the opposite direction. And I want to have at least 3 segments to the body, and if I can manage it, a 4th one. Catch your wire in at the end, holding down your thread, wiggle your wire away. For the thorax cover, I'm going to use a little bit of black foam. It's not stuff I've bought for fly tying, it's straight out of the kiddies craft box, and you can just take off a section. I've already done that. here the appropriate size depending on what size of hook you're working with, and I'm going to catch that in. And bring it back to about there. For the wing, I'm going to use arrow wing. It comes off in single strands, and I'm going to take about 6 centimeters just off camera here, and I'm going to fold it in half. Now it's a little bit unruly, so I'm just going to give it a lick to make it that bit easier to work with. Now normally I would turn the fly towards myself at this point so that I could figure of 8 the wing on, but it will fall out of focus, so I'm just going to try and do it where it sits. Once you're comfortable it's sitting properly, just make sure you catch it in hard so that it doesn't go anywhere. Now at this point I'd like to just get rid of my excess, so I'm going to bring up both wings and snip, and what I get then is the same size wings, and depending on what size, again, you can catch in your thorax cover. Now I'm going to use, for the thorax, rabbit fur. I'm just going to get that dubbed on a little bit, and push it up. So again I'm going to figure of 8 over there and there. Oh, sorry, and then just bring that round the front. Just take away what I don't need. I want just a little tiny little bit left, and I'm going to bring that up like so. Next then we bring the thorax cover over the top and catch that in. Couple of turns to hold it in place. Got to be careful with the power silk because it can slice right through the foam, and that can be quite frustrating. I've just tucked a little half hitch in there, and the best way to remove the excess foam is using a scalpel. Take your time. What you don't want to do is cut your thread at this point, or everything springs back, and that can be very frustrating. So catch that in, a couple of more turns, then you can use a whip finish tool, or as I've done here, just use my fingers. A couple of half hitches, and I can pull away. So that's looking pretty good, and you would probably get away with just using that as it stands. But what we're going to do next is we're going to use some glow in the dark powder coupled with some UV resin to make a spot that we can see in poor light. So I've poured some of the powder out onto the handy spoon it came with. You can see it there. And I'm going to use some of the Trout Lines clear UV varnish. So take your dubbing needle and get, I'm just doing it off camera, a healthy splodge on, and dip it in the powder. Once you've got a splodge that you're happy with, bring in your UV pen and just cure that off. It says 10 seconds or so. I like to give it just a little bit longer. That should do it. And then usually what I would do is I would use my vise to turn the fly just to make sure everything looks okay at the bottom. Just tidy up any little bits that is coming off it. Then before disappearing into my fly box, I would get a little bit of dilly wax and just do the ends of the wings. And there you have the pointy spinner. Looks pretty good. Thanks very much for watching.